It all started when I noticed small changes in my wife's behavior. She used to be affectionate, eager to spend time with me, and deeply involved in our family life. But over time, she grew distant, glued to her phone, and often found excuses to be out of the house. At first, I thought it was just stress from work or personal issues, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. I tried talking to her, but every conversation ended with her being defensive or accusing me of overthinking. The turning point came when I noticed a large sum missing from our joint savings account. This wasn't just our money, it was my family's emergency fund, money my parents had entrusted to us for safekeeping. When I asked her about it, she brushed it off, saying she needed to handle something important, and that it wasn't my concern. That alone sent alarm bells ringing in my head. I began digging quietly. I checked bank statements, text messages, and even spoke to a few mutual friends. The picture that started forming was worse than I could have imagined. She had been meeting our neighbor, someone we'd known for years, behind my back. Not only that, but the withdrawals from our account matched the dates of her mysterious outings. I suspected she was financially supporting him. A week later, I overheard a conversation in our backyard while I was working in the garage. She was talking to the neighbor in hushed tones, and I heard something that made my blood run cold. "He still doesn't know the baby's yours." My mind went blank. We had no children yet, so the only explanation was that she had been pregnant in secret and the baby wasn't mine. I kept my emotions under control. I knew exploding in that moment would ruin any chance I had of gathering proof. Instead, I began planning. I collected bank records, recorded conversations, and even installed a small camera near the back fence where they often talked. Every detail was now documented. When I finally confronted her, I made sure it was in front of both our families. I printed out the financial statements, the photos, and played the recordings. Her face went pale as everyone heard her admit the child belonged to our neighbor. The room was silent except for my father's heavy breathing and my mother's quiet sobs. She tried to defend herself, saying I was never there for her emotionally, and that she had needs. My father stood up and told her she had destroyed more than just a marriage. She had betrayed a family that trusted her. Even her own parents looked ashamed. I didn't stop there. I filed for divorce immediately and pressed charges for the stolen money since it was technically my family's property. The evidence I had was enough to make her pay back every cent. She had to sell her car and most of her valuables just to cover the repayment. The neighbor didn't come out of it unscathed either. His wife found out and left him, taking their 2 kids. His reputation in the neighborhood was shattered, and he ended up moving away within months. People stopped talking to him, and his social circle disappeared overnight. As for my wife, she moved into a small apartment, struggling to balance a job and caring for the baby. She sent me a few messages begging for forgiveness, but I never responded. I had no interest in revisiting the wreckage she caused. I focused on rebuilding my life. I reconnected with old friends, spent more time with my parents, and even started a small business with the money I recovered. The betrayal had cut deep, but it also gave me clarity about who I could truly trust. Months later, I heard from a mutual friend that she was telling people I had overreacted, and that the affair wasn't a big deal. But the evidence spoke for itself, and no one bought her version of events. She had become a cautionary tale in our community. Sometimes, late at night, I think about how different things could have been if I hadn't caught her. I might still be living a lie, raising another man's child, and watching my family's savings vanish. Instead, I exposed the truth before it destroyed me completely. In the end, I didn't just take revenge, I took back control of my life. She lost everything she thought she could take for granted, and I gained something priceless: peace of mind and the freedom to move forward without the weight of her lies.